So many artists painted for the Pope, and you're the only one that had the opportunity that the Pope himself actually paints on you.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that event? My name is Milo Stojanovic. I'm founder of Soland. Welcome to Soland Talks. Today we have an amazing guest, amazing artist, the only living artist exhibiting in Louvre, and one of the three artists that ever exhibited in Louvre while they were alive. A true rock star, a true friend, one and only Domingo Zapata. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
So, Domingo, tell us about yourself. Who is Domingo Zapata?
Bueno, Domingo Zapata is from Palma de Mallorca in Spain. I'm an artist. I'm a painter, sculptures. I love to create. Since I was a kid, I don't remember a day in my life when I wasn't doing something creative, no? Which I guess was very annoying for my mom because I kept painting on every wall, I kept drawing everything I can, I was always doing something. Anyways, so curious, always looking for a challenge, trying to do things that nobody does, but try to do them better than if everybody else was doing them. Tough on myself, with my goals, but then a happy person too, I love art in every sense and form, and basically that's who I am,
I remember first time I met you, I was very excited. I meet a lot of interesting people, but you're one of the few that I was very, very excited. And I wanted to learn who you are, what you do, why you do it. And especially because of the great accomplishments that you've done so far in your life, in your career. Interesting thing is so many artists painted for the Pope. And you're the only one that had the opportunity that the Pope himself actually paints on you.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that event?
Well, everything started because the Pope has a foundation called Escolas Ocurrentes, and what they do is they promote art and sports in education in very marginal areas. Now, they call me to ask me if I wanted to donate a painting for a gala that they were doing to help the foundation. And I thought, well, why don't we ask the Pope if instead of me just donating a painting, which I'll give you as many paintings as you need for this cause, because I think it's amazing, no? But why don't you ask him and see if he wouldn't mind painting with me? Why don't we do one painting together? And the lady on the phone said, this is impossible.
He's a Pope.
Exactly, the Pope does not paint. And I'm like, would you ask him? Because I think if we do it together, we're going to be able to raise a lot of money and awareness, and I think it's going to be really good for everybody, and especially for the kids, because you do this to help these children, And she said, okay, well, we'll try. And I'm like, either way, you have the painting, no problem, So a few days later, I get a call back, and she says, the Pope said that he'll paint with you, no problem. I'm like, oh, wow, it's something that you're like...
Is this a prank?
It's like, be careful what you wish, you might get it, no? So then I said, when? He's like, well, can you come next week? And I'm like, yes, I'll go next week. So everything started like that. I went and we met and we did this beautiful painting together. We did it on a glass. There was a lot of press. And then the painting sold for, a couple million. And then, we started a relationship where I've been collaborating with their foundation. And one day, as a funny joke, and that we were working on another painting together, and he came and said, wait, now I'm going to paint on you. And he did. So it was a magical moment that obviously I'll never forget. And everybody asked the same question: where is the jacket? I said, my mom has it. She's like, that's staying with me.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I know one guy that couldn't get your painting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. True. Many people, no? But some of them famous. Some of them famous, yes.
I remember Leonardo DiCaprio bidding for your painting and he didn't actually get it.
Yes, yes. I did this series inspired by Mona Lisa, and one went for auction, and in fact he bid over 500,000, from what I hear, and the painting went for over $1 million. So. Dollars, so that was great, but he does have a couple of paintings, so I think he's happy either way.
Um, you did many amazing things, and one of the things that it's very unusual and very hard to accomplish, and something that's going to be definitely remembered for a long, long time. It's you painting the biggest mural in Manhattan, in Times Square.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, I mean,
There's so many reportages about that. There's so
yeah.
many videos about it, talks about it.
At the end, you do things because I love what I do, and like I said, I like to take challenges and I like to do difficult things. No, so they were renovating One Times Square, which is the building that the ball drops in New York City, and they wanted to do something with the vinyls. They didn't want to do advertising, so the Times Square Association, and then the building is owned by Jamestown, the corporation. They reached out through the advertising agency that that does all the publicity there, and they said, "Would you like to do this mural?" And I said, yes, why not? It's 30,000 square feet, 3,000 square meters. I'm like, when do we start? Literally, I know I had to go onto a building that is 20 flights up, and hang from a basket and paint and this. But beautiful project. We did it in 30 days. We worked endless hours with an amazing team that we put together, and that was one of the biggest accomplishments that I've ever, believe I did. Not just because of the repercussion, but just because, it's something that if you really think about it, you don't do it. So sometimes you gotta go and jump in a pool and hope that it's full and not empty. But I'm a positive person, and I thought, okay, if we dream of it, we can make it happen, and that's what we did. We worked very hard, and we created the largest mural in the history of New York, the largest art project ever done in Times Square. So that was amazing, and it opened many doors for my career, obviously, but also it gave me the the ability to believe more and more in myself. As an artist, you need to learn to believe in yourself. Insecurities are everywhere because creativity does not have a border of control. You create, but the direction is so always so many things. No? So this one helped me to say, okay, well, if I've done this, I can do more. And now what's next? What's next? And what's next?
You know how they say, you are sometimes the victim of your own success. That mural was amazing, but what I heard is something new is coming up.
Yes, we are working now in creating the largest mural in the world, which is going to happen in Riyadh, in Diriyah. And we are aiming to create a mural that will be 50,000 square meters. Now, that's big.
That's big.
That is by far will be a Guinness record, by far will be the largest mural ever done in history.
I can only imagine the amount of paint and amount of hours.
Oh, I don't know.
Days, months.
I said, listen, I can do this, but no budget, no time frame. I don't want money for me. I just know this is a project that has a lot different components, and you know, and it's going to take a long time, and it's going to take a lot of efforts from many people, no? So we're looking into the different options on how to do it, and exactly where to do it. But what we all agree to is that one, we want it to be the biggest, and two, we want everybody to fly that flies over Riyadh can see it. So these are some conditions that we need to get in there, no matter what.
This is amazing project. It's very challenging, and um, I'm happy to see how that's going to turn out. I know it's going to be a great success, but I can only imagine how much effort and how much creativity and how much you're gonna like. Will you be able to do something else while you're doing this? How does it work actually? How does it work when you take on
Yes.
the project? Does that takes all like a big project? This is humongous. Does that take all of your effort, all of your creativity, all of your energy, or you can have a social life? You can create something else. How?
Well, you know, I'm used to work in several projects at the same time, and you know, I am a you know, team person. I like to create a team for a project. So obviously, I mean, it would take my entire life if I wanted to do this just on my own. But I hope to work with other artists from the university, different universities in Saudi Arabia, from you know, with children, with you know, with a group of people that also need projects like this, you know, to get that exposure. So I want to put together a huge group of amazing artists from known to unknown that we can all work together towards creating something magical that will last forever, hopefully, no? And that will be a monument that will stay there when we're gone, and it's part of our legacy. So it's a very serious project that will take years to complete, but that I'm confident enough that will be magical and a beautiful experience.
I wish you best of luck.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been
Yeah.
going to the gym every day. I've been, you know, getting ready psychologically.
I'll be coming to check on you. So you did many collaborations. You did a collaboration with Superga and Steve Maiden. You
Yeah.
did you rewrote some of the sequences of a famous song Macarena.
Some of that is my fault, yes.
Yeah, but you do so much charity work. You donate so much. You're always there to help. Whenever your friends and institutions, organizations, they're raising money, you're the first one to say, yes, I will be there. I will support. And this is great. Not so many people are willing truly to give back. Um, how does that make you feel? What's what's the reason behind it? How does that fulfill you?
Well, you know, first of all, I come from a very humble background. My father was a policeman. My mom was a tailor. So it's not like I come from a family that was even dedicated to arts. I believe in God. I believe that there is. I'm not talking about a particular religion. I'm talking about in general. I believe that if you're given the light with such intensity to have the opportunity to do what you want to do with your life, to shine within your life, it's your obligation to reflect on the others that need it more. And like I got, you know, this reflection when I was growing up, when I was starting my career, then I think that, you know, not only I have the obligation to, you know, transmit everything that touches my heart into art, but I also have the obligation to help others shine. And in today's world, you know, there is so much need for help. So I feel so comfortable where I am as an artist that I have the opportunity to spend time to to help others, no? Especially children in need, children that are suffering. And we live in a world that is complicated, it's difficult, it's cruel for many more children than we could ever imagine. So for me, it's not only an honor, but It's part of my drive. If I wasn't painting, I couldn't breathe. If I wasn't helping these kids, then, I couldn't even be here.
Thank you for making the world a little bit better place.
Well, I always say, this is a quote that I love. I say, I don't know how to make the world a better place. However, I know how to make it beautiful for others that can make it a better place. And if that is the little piece that I can add to history, that's exactly what I want. I just want to make other people happy with my work. I want to make people motivated. I want to make people passionate, inspired, and use that energy to go to the right place and do the right things to make those changes.
Today, with the social media, with the exposure, artists can be out there very moment. The world uh, can find out information. The world can follow. The world can appreciate right away. It's sad, but it's true that in the times back in the history, artists created art that unfortunately was appreciated usually after they're dead.
Yeah.
And many of them didn't really capitalize on their talent. It's unfair because you have a singer that performs and capitalizes. You have a athlete that he plays for a big fat contract. But for the artist, there wasn't a case. Today, things are different, and gladly they are
Yeah.
different. And I remember an anecdote that you told me when you went with your son in Louvre, and you were walking around and you saw your painting, and then you went down to the shop, and then you went that they're actually selling the memorabilia of your painting. Can you just
Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, the Grand Palais Immersive and Louvre organized this digital immersive exhibition about Mona Lisa and its influence on other artists. No? And I had the honor to be offered to be a part of this exhibition, which was a wonderful experience for me. And they took my Mona Lisa and then they made posters and that. So when we went to the gift shop of the exhibition, and they had this bottle of water of the Louvre and the books of Cézanne and books of Da Vinci, and then they had some of my posters, and other memorabilia. And my son says to me, Dad, I think we're going to be okay. And I'm like, well, I might be okay, but you're not. You have a lot of work to do. And I don't think I'll be okay. Life, to be successful, I think you need to keep your feet on the ground always. You need to keep that humbleness that is going to bring you that creativity and the opportunity to do other things. When you climb a mountain, you look up and you need to see another mountain. And you make growth step by step. And that's how you get to one summit, and then you will see the next summit, and then you'll see the next summit. So yes, history changes in terms of the art world in the mid 1800s. No, the industrialization, the invention of new devices like the photographic cameras, and access to make things in a different way, give the ability to many artists to be able to produce different type of art. You don't need to be an academical artist in the studios, in the academia for years and years, painting for the royal family or for the churches. You can now just buy your own canvas, go in the street, and with daylight paint. That's the revolution of the art world. That's the beginning of modern art, impressionism, expressionism, that you do what you want, however you want to do it, because art is about explaining your time in life, stating what you did. And that's been there for the last 40 million years, since the man in the cave dipped his hands in lamb blood and put them on the cave and said, I exist, I was here. And we know who we are today because of this international language of art that doesn't require you to speak, That doesn't require you to hear. It just requires you to see and feel, you know. And yes, it was so revolutionary. Like Impressionism changed so many things, opened so many doors that, and what is Impressionism? These artists were only painting very quick, concentrating an impression of a moment. They had only a couple hours because they were painting with natural light. So an art critic said, this is not a painting, it's an impression. And they were painting whatever they wanted. They didn't need to paint, the royal family of X country or the cardinal. They were painting, a prostitute in Montmartre. And they were not even taking care of all the details around it. They didn't need to do 3 dimension. They wanted to bring it to you just what it is, an impression, and no feelings at all. Now, very interesting because this changed everything. And it was Cézanne who did say that he would change the art world with the painting of one apple, because that apple was painted in natural light. That apple was painted very fast, in a few hours, and like Van Gogh, who painted the starry night from the window of his house. These paintings were made to state something, an action, a moment, a situation. But they never did it thinking they were going to become famous. They never did it for the success. They were just changing the world, and that was already a big ticket. And history put them in their place, of course, with time. But criticism was horrible. They went through the worst period, and then as you kept growing, then you had other artists like, Monet, Picasso, Dali, that started to take that benefit, Renoir, and that changed the art world as we knew it, and that allowed for artists to be able to capitalize while being alive on what they were doing. But there is no such a thing as set in stone, like, oh, this is good art, but art. This is, you're an artist. There's
Who
no
decides
university.
who decides what's a good art, what's a bad art?
I think-
What's art at all?
I think everybody decides. First of all, when someone is like, "Oh, what's a good investment in art?" First of all, the one that you like. It doesn't matter if it's cheaper or more expensive, because you never know. Nobody was buying Van Gogh, and then look what happened. Nobody was buying, so much art for many, many years that then became so extremely famous. Obviously, we live in a world of marketing. We live in a world of social media. We live in a world where, influencers. But before, the influencers were the king, the queen, the pope. And today, you have many other little influencers that are also divided in categories of different themes and areas. Now you have the ability to decide, to research, to study, and in a couple of minutes, you know exactly what you have in front of you. So everything changed, and that gives the opportunity to many other artists to come and also have the exposure, because you have artists nobody knew existed until later on, when somebody that probably had done his research and went and searched and it says this is breakthrough. At the end, everything that is new, that hasn't been done, or that is being done but is being done in a different way, changes, historical, political, financial changes. This is what makes most of people's influence towards one piece or another piece. No? But there is no university of artists. There is artists that are self-taught. There's artists that went to the best schools, and they cannot succeed. And then there's just an artist that's success. Why? Time, efforts, dreams, and light. The light, luck. It's important to be in the right place at the right time. Acknowledge that is something that is happening in front of you. Acknowledge it, capture, and then create.
Investing in art, it's popular for quite some time, but it's getting more and more popular. And you see nowadays the financial institutions are heavily investing in art. Goldman Sachs, many other private banks. Why being from the industry that wealth management, the investing industry, I want to understand why it's important to advise our clients to invest in art. What are the benefits? What is the upside? What is the downside? And why would they do it?
Well, I mean, first of all, art is an asset that gives you instant satisfaction. Let's start with that one. Number two is that you know, in a portfolio of investment, you need to have diversification. And in today's world, there's so much real estate, there's so much stock market, there's so much funds, there's so much. But let's not underestimate there is a huge market in the art world that it comes as an opportunity, not only because you can enjoy it, but at the same time because, there is a balance of, demand and availability. The more people that get wealthier, they want the same things, but there's so many cars you can buy, there's so many houses you can buy, and then you get to the ultimate luxury good, if you wanted to call it like that, which would be, art. So who doesn't want to, who in that position says, oh, I want to have a Picasso. Okay, well, first of all, find one that is available. Second, make sure it's a Picasso. Then three, be ready to pay for something very small, a huge ticket from maybe 5 to 200 million. But you're not buying just art; you're buying history, and you're part of the history. I'm gonna direct a movie that I wrote. It starts in September, and called "The Beautiful Dream of Life." And when I was with the production company, and we were raising $12 million for it, no, in Cannes last year, and all the meetings, the producers were like crazy because they were like, "You can't start a pitch like that," And I'm like, first of all, I'm not pitching. I'm not trying to make a movie. I'm not a film director. I'm an artist. I'm trying to make a work of art. And I told them the following thing. I said, look, if you think you're going to make money with my movie, I cannot guarantee that. In fact, I think it might be very unlikely because I've never done this before. However, what I can offer you is something that nobody in Hollywood can offer you, which is you can be part of history. So your investment gives you history. And there's nothing you can buy in the world that will give you history, guaranteed, which has been an art project that, comes from an artist that is established, that is, proven that can do different things and can do them right, that can open doors, that can, lead you to your own universe and your own world. And you can do that in a movie, but if you do a movie in the form of a painting or an art installation, then it's a complete different story. And by being part of my story, you're part of the history of art that I want to create, that legacy that I want to leave behind. And that's what you do. But besides from that, let's not forget that art, wine, and some of these very exclusive works of art have a track record that makes the stock market look like a peanut. You look at a Basquiat that cost only a couple of years ago $1 million, and now it's 180 million. And all the up and coming artists that are there that you can buy art for 3,000, 5,000. Imagine if you bought 1,000 pieces. All you need is one to work. It's not like you need. So in that high risk part of your portfolio where you're already investment, your already return is on experience, your ROE and not your ROI, then you're winning immediately. But on top of that, you have the opportunity to hit a home run and then be part of the history of that artist. And on top of that, have an amazing return on your investment.
Where I also see the beauty of it, the watchmakers make watches to be expensive. The car makers make cars to be expensive. The builders make houses to be expensive. Artists do not make art thinking of that. They make art because they want to make something beautiful, and yet it becomes. So this is, nobody tells you that this is valuable. It just becomes. And everybody knows that Rolex is valuable. Patek is valuable because marketing, commercial, the whole machinery stands by telling everyone this is good, this is expensive.
Yeah.
With art, it's just different. Society decides, generations decide, history decides.
Exactly, history designs, you know. But don't forget when you look at these watches, like, for example, or brands, you know, um, they they have a history. You know, Rolex is not just a brand. Rolex, you know, was a dream that came true. Machineries, complications like the ones that, you know, you find in Patek Philippe and in other watches are complications that were impossible, and they were made happen. Then now, okay, you dress that up with luxury, with this, with marketing, no, but yeah, they're institutions. See, you know, when I die, there'll be nobody painting Domingo Zapata. It'd be imagine, you know, like Louis Vuitton died or Armani died, and they keep doing Armanis. You know, I'm sorry, Armani. Hopefully, it lives for many many years. I meant Versace, you know, or other brands. You know, I'm saying that at the end, an artist is gone, and if you did this many paintings, this is as many as you do. But as an artist, like I said, your obligation is not financial. Your obligation is legacy and be a part of history. And to do that, you need to work very hard. You need to risk constantly, take risk, take on challenges, and keep going and keep going and keep going, knowing that there is no guarantee of any sort of success. But that's what artists do. You have craftsmen and you have artists. Craftsmen get better by repetition, and they, you know, and they can continue a brand. Artists, we get better only by spontaneity, by creating things that are not there and try not to repeat the same thing ever again. So it's a constant risk. And it's a risk that you leave not only, you know, mentally, but physically, because of course it's going to get you, you know. But yeah, I mean, the money is, don't take me wrong, money is great, you know, and it gives you opportunities to do many things. Stability is great. But for an artist, I believe that you can't concentrate in the commercial aspect of it. You need to go completely against the commercial aspect to succeed, and sometimes commercially. So it kind of not makes sense, but it does make sense, you know. But what I'm saying is that, you know, many people buy my art and say, as a joke, you know, they're like, well, if you die tomorrow, the painting is going to be worth more. And I say, well, I'll do my best, but not yet.
But you buy as many Domingo Zapata as you possibly can.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I have a cosmopolitan every day at noon. I eat, you know, all sorts of meats. You know, I smoke cigars every now and then. I mean, I'm doing my best. So if you are thinking that, just buy.
Well, okay, let's put it this way. Everybody should invest in art, not because it's just financially good to do it, but even though banks started taking it as a collateral, it's everywhere, and everybody is supporting this type of investment, and it's been proven that it's a very good type of investment. But you as an artist, where do you invest?
I mean, I'm an artist that collects art too. So you know, I love collecting art, and I have a collection of art that includes, you know, I specialize in you know, modern and contemporary. So my collection is also in rarities. I like to find works on paper, works on leather, works on strange devices from artists, you know, from the last, say, 150 years to today. And I never sold one of those pieces. And they say, but why are you always broke? Because I keep buying other people's art. You know, but I love my art collection, and I hope that that's part of what I give to this legacy that we keep talking about. To my kids, to my family, and to other people to see. But I'm constantly collecting art myself. And yes, if we looked at the investment and the returns on the investments are, 50 to 100 times the original investment in the last 20 years. But still, if you said to me, I want to buy one of your Rothkos, or I want to buy one of your Picassos, or one of Miros, or any of that, I would say, never in my life I will sell one of these to you or anybody, because they're part of my heart. So just so you understand, how powerful the attachment is, no? And also because these are the artists that inspire me to do what I do. So it's my tools, it's my soul, we call it in Spain, duende. It's like a fairy that lives inside and it would never let me do it.
You live in New York. Many would say capital of the world. It's a humongous animal. Stock exchange, real estate, art, everything, fashion. And now you're spending a lot of time also in the Middle East. We were just together in Saudi Arabia, and here everything is also a booming, and especially the real estate industry. Our company is taking a big part in this industry, and we're promoting it as well heavily as a good way of investing your money. What do you think about it? It's in a way, it's something that you buy, you can own it, you can have it, you can enjoy it. It's not like art, but
Well, real estate is important. It's a solid asset, no? Um, again, for me, it all depends, on what you want to do with your investment portfolio. I invest in real estate, and I use it, and I share it with my friends. And there's also, again, the world changed, so an investment is not only sit on it and wait, but you have all these other opportunities, Airbnb and all these other forms of getting profits out of it, no? So like I have a few properties, and they are part of different, groups of renting and leasing, this, that, and the other. And the returns are great. It's become much easier today to invest in real estate and find alternative ways of profit from it. Not just, I'm going to buy it and then I'm going to rent it for 10 years. No, now there's so many ways to win. And, I spent so many years spending all my time mostly in New York City, because I had my head in the studio, and then eventually as my career took off more and more and more, then I have the opportunity to do other things, to go explore other places, and I discovered Middle East, and it's incredible. From the first time when I came here to Dubai about 25 years ago, a friend of mine said to me, "We're going to build a city of perfume bottles. It's going to be so beautiful. It's going to look like a duty-free shop, with all these perfumes." And then it took me 20 years to come back, and then I saw it, and I'm like, he was right. Imagine if I had invested in that time, and in places like Dubai, like Saudi Arabia.
yeah, we saw what they're building over there. This is gonna
It's
be
crazy, and the opportunities are opening up just to invest in any properties, funds that are involved in infrastructure, just infrastructure, and the growth and the opportunity and the wealth that is sharing. Because how many employees are here, no? And you're like, okay, a lot of people that come from Pakistan, from India, but they have an opportunity. And that's bringing wealth back home to their families who having a better opportunity. So places like Arab Emirates and what's happening in Riyadh and Middle East, not only you're investing and you're profiting from it, but you're also being part of helping others because they didn't have opportunities. And now imagine the thousands, if not millions of families in India, in Pakistan, and in countries with, the third world countries that now are growing and growing and growing. And new generations will get better education, more opportunities, and this will change the world. This is a snowball effect that is and will change the world for a better and not for worse, in my opinion.
You're a true global citizen. You travel a lot. You're everywhere. You lived in several countries. Um, One thing that I want to talk about is being born in Spain, being born with a good passport. It's the passport that allows you to travel visa free, to move around, easily to establish yourself in other jurisdictions. It's much more helpful than being from a part of the world where by birth you are already restricted to travel, to move around, to settle. Um, did you did you ever think about it? Well, I'm blessed with many things. I'm talented. I'm successful, but also I'm blessed with a place and the country that I'm born with. Not from patriotic reasons, but also
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like what we're saying now. Yes, I was aware of that at a very early age because if you are curious about what's going on in the world, you realize very quickly that most of the world citizens struggle for many reasons. No? So being born in Palma de Mallorca in a middle class family, just to have your parents with you, just to have parents that care, that love you, that my dad was born in post Spanish Civil War. He did not learn to read or write until he was 15. He was working taking care of pigs and things like that, and he joined the military because they told him he would read and write in a few years. And so from there to where we are today, it's a father that not only he became literate, but then I believe he became an intellectual, and then his main obsession in life was to give my brother and I and my sister a good education to have an opportunity. So, Spanish passport is very good today, but 50 years ago wasn't that good. My dad didn't go through what I went through. No, his life was way more complicated in those terms. But yeah, being born in a beautiful place with a beautiful family, of course, is 95% of the work was already done. You just gotta try to stay in that journey and stay out of trouble. But yeah, I mean, opportunity comes with education. Opportunity comes with access, exposure. And yeah, if you are in a place where you can't leave and you're stuck in that place, then of course your opportunities diminish. And if you want opportunities just for you, but like my dad, for your future generation, then that's the direction, to be in the right place where you have options for your family. And sometimes passports, most of the times, will help with that, obviously.
thank you. So, uh, my guest before you was Joseph Poon. He's the head of private banking of the biggest Singapore bank and one of the biggest private banks in the world, DBS. And we have this tradition that our guest always asks our next guest, without knowing who that guest is,
Okay.
a question. So once he found him on social media, a kind of a better version of himself, him being presented as a Tom Cruise.
Okay.
And he thought about it and he liked it, so he didn't delete it. So his question to you, you are already amazing. So I don't know if this is even possible to find a better version of yourself somewhere on the social media. Would you delete it or would you keep it?
No, imagine I see myself as Brad Pitt. I mean, I would not only keep it, I would like send it to every girl I know.
Well, I said if that's even possible. Well, to keep the tradition, I would like you to ask a question to our next guest without
Okay.
knowing who that guest is, male, female, industry.
Okay, this is my question. Um, if you if you only had two colors to work with, okay, pink and gold, what would you paint? And you have only 10 minutes.
Wow, that's an interesting
That
question.
doesn't require any. I'm not talking about. It doesn't require technique or no. I don't know how to paint. That's not an answer. I just want to know. You would paint like a circle, a square, a triangle, a moon, a star. Nothing but just dots. What would you do? It doesn't require ability. Just what would you do in 10 minutes if you only had those two colors and two brushes?
Good question.
Okay.
Domingo, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for being an amazing person. Thank you for leaving a piece of history for all of us, and for the next generations. Thank you for being a philanthropist, and thank you for being a great friend.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me here, and the best of luck with Soland. I think